I've wanted to try to put something together which started with quite a fragile...
He says his autobiography will be published only when he's dead to avoid any legal difficulties.
He and I had played together since we were like 16.
The man who created some of the most iconic guitar riffs in history is hiding a story no one saw coming. Behind the fame and glory, Jimmy Page's life was filled with shadows that threatened to destroy everything. While the world admired his brilliance, few knew the hidden battle he was fighting. What dark truth about the Led Zeppelin legend is finally coming to light? Before we dive into the shocking revelations, let's first revisit his early life and the heights of his career. Early life and musical beginnings. James Patrick Page was born on January 9, 1944, in Heston, Middlesex, England. His early childhood was spent in West London, where he first discovered his passion for music. At the age of 12, Page's family moved to Epsom, Surrey, a move that would prove pivotal in his musical journey. From a quiet corner of West London to the forefront of rock history, how did young James discover his destiny? Page's initial exposure to the guitar came when he discovered an old Spanish guitar left behind by the previous tenants of his family's new home in Epsom. Intrigued by the instrument, he began teaching himself to play. His early influences were diverse, ranging from the skiffle music of Lonnie Donegan to the rock and roll of Elvis Presley and the blues of B.B. King. As a teenager, Page immersed himself in the local music scene, playing in various bands and honing his skills. He was particularly drawn to the blues, studying the recordings of American blues artists and incorporating their techniques into his own playing. This period of intense practice and exploration laid the foundation for Page's unique guitar style, which would later blend blues, folk, and classical influences with hard rock intensity. From a brief stint with the Crusaders to a breakthrough in session work, what pivotal choices shaped Jimmy Page's early career? In the early 1960s, Page's reputation as a skilled guitarist began to grow. He was invited to join the Crusaders, a band led by singer Neil Christian, but his time with the group was cut short due to a bout of glandular fever. This setback, however, led to a pivotal moment in Page's career. While recovering, Page decided to focus on his art studies at Sutton Art College. However, his passion for music remained strong, and he continued to play and develop his skills. It was during this time that he was approached to do session work, marking the beginning of his career as a highly sought-after session musician. From pop to rock, how did Jimmy Page's versatile session work in the 60s set the stage for his groundbreaking contributions to music? From 1963 to 1966, Page became one of the most in-demand session guitarists in London. He contributed to recordings by a wide array of artists, including The Who, The Kinks, Van Morrison, and Marianne Faithfull. This period was crucial in Page's development as a musician and producer. He gained invaluable experience in the studio, learning about recording techniques and production while continuing to refine his playing style. Some notable recordings from this period include The Who's I Can't Explain, Petula Clark's Downtown, and several tracks on the Kinks' debut album. Page's versatility as a guitarist allowed him to adapt to various musical styles, from pop to rock to folk, from Yardbirds to Led Zeppelin. In 1964, Page was approached to replace Eric Clapton in the Yardbirds, but he declined out of loyalty to his friend Jeff Beck, who took the position instead. However, in 1966, Page finally joined the band, initially as a bassist before switching to lead guitar in a dual lead guitar lineup with Beck. This period with the Yardbirds was crucial in Page's development as a rock guitarist. What pivotal changes did Jimmy Page bring to the Yardbirds in? And how did this period shape his groundbreaking approach to rock guitar? The band's experimental approach allowed him to push the boundaries of his playing and explore new sounds. It was during this time that Page began to experiment with using a violin bow on his electric guitar, a technique that would become one of his signatures. Some of the Yardbirds' most innovative work came from this period, including tracks like Happenings 10 Years Time Ago and Over Under Sideways Down. However, the band began to dissolve in 1968, with Page as the sole remaining member. What drove Jimmy Page to assemble a new band from scratch as the Yardbirds disintegrated? As the Yardbirds were coming to an end, Page was determined to form a new band. He recruited session bassist and arranger John Paul Jones, whom he knew from his session days. For the crucial roles of vocalist and drummer, Page discovered two relatively unknown but immensely talented musicians from the Midlands, Robert Plant and John Bonham. The new group, initially called the New Yardbirds, played their first gig in September 1968. Shortly after, they changed their name to Led Zeppelin, reportedly inspired by a comment made by The Who's Keith Moon that the band would go down like a lead balloon. What seismic shift did Led Zeppelin's debut album bring to rock music, and how did Jimmy's innovative guitar work lead the charge? Led Zeppelin's self-titled debut album was recorded in October 1968 and released in early 1969. The album was a powerful statement of intent, showcasing the band's unique blend of blues, folk, and hard rock. Page's guitar work was central to the album's sound, from the heavy riffs of Good Times, Bad Times to the psychedelic experimentation of Dazed and Confused. The band's sophomore album, Led Zeppelin II, followed later in 1969. This album featured some of the band's most enduring tracks, including Whole Lotta Love and Ramble On. Page's guitar riffs on this album, particularly the iconic opening of Whole Lotta Love, would become some of the most recognizable in rock history. Throughout the early 1970s, Led Zeppelin released a string of highly successful and influential albums. Led Zeppelin III, 1970, saw the band incorporate more acoustic and folk elements, showcasing Page's versatility as a guitarist and arranger. The albums That's the Way and Gallows Pole demonstrated his skill with acoustic guitar and alternative tunings. What are the secrets behind Led Zeppelin's timeless hits? 1971 saw the release of the band's untitled fourth album, often referred to as Led Zeppelin IV or Zoso. This album, featuring the epic Stairway to Heaven, is widely regarded as one of the greatest rock albums of all time. Page's guitar work on Stairway to Heaven, from the intricate acoustic intro to the soaring electric solo, is considered a masterpiece of rock guitar playing. Subsequent albums like Houses of the Holy, 1973, and the double album Physical Graffiti, 1975, continued to showcase Page's growth as a guitarist, songwriter, and producer. Tracks like The Rain Song, Kashmir, and 10 Years Gone demonstrated his ability to create complex, multi-layered compositions that pushed the boundaries of rock music. Innovations, performances, and post-Zeppelin career. How did Jimmy Page transform the art of recording? Throughout Led Zeppelin's career, Page served not only as the band's lead guitarist, but also as their primary producer and one of the main songwriters. His production techniques were innovative for the time, particularly his use of distance miking and ambient recording to create a sense of space and depth in the band's sound. Page's approach to recording was to capture the energy and dynamics of a live performance in the studio. He often used unusual microphone placements and experimented with different room acoustics to achieve unique sounds. This approach is particularly evident on tracks like When the Levee Breaks, where John Bonham's drums were recorded in a stairwell to achieve a massive, reverberant sound. As a songwriter, Page drew from a wide range of influences, including blues, folk, Eastern music, and mythology. He had a knack for crafting memorable riffs and arrangements that allowed each band member to shine, while creating a cohesive and powerful overall sound. His collaborations with Robert Plant resulted in some of rock's most enduring compositions. What made Jimmy's guitar work revolutionary? Jimmy Page is renowned for his diverse and innovative guitar techniques. He was one of the first rock guitarists to popularize the use of a violin bow on the electric guitar, as heard on tracks like Dazed and Confused and How Many More Times. This technique created otherworldly, haunting sounds that became a signature part of Led Zeppelin's live performances. Page also pioneered the use of alternate tunings in rock music, employing various open and modal tunings to create unique textures and harmonies. His use of effects pedals, particularly the wah-wah pedal, and various distortion units, helped shape the sound of hard rock and heavy metal guitar playing. His playing style combined elements of blues, folk, and classical music with a hard rock edge. Page was equally adept at crafting intricate fingerpicking patterns, as heard on tracks like Brawn Your Oar, and unleashing ferocious, high-energy solos, as exemplified in Heartbreaker and Achilles' Last Stand. What made Led Zeppelin's live shows unforgettable? Led Zeppelin's live shows were legendary, known for their length, intensity, and improvisational nature. Page's guitar solos often extended far beyond their recorded versions, with the guitarist pushing himself to new heights of creativity and virtuosity night after night. The band's concert film, The Song Remains the Same, 1976, captured some of these epic performances, showcasing Page's electrifying stage presence and musical prowess. The band's live performances also allowed Page to showcase his skill with various guitars and effects. He was known for using a double-necked Gibson EDS 1275 for songs like Stairway to Heaven, allowing him to switch between 6-string and 12-string parts seamlessly. His use of a theremin in live versions of Whole Lotta Love added another layer of sonic experimentation to the band's performances. What challenges did Jimmy face after the end of Led Zeppelin? Led Zeppelin disbanded in 1980 following the death of drummer John Bonham. The loss of Bonham, whom the band considered irreplaceable, marked the end of one of rock's most successful and influential groups. In the years that followed, Page worked on various projects, including collaborating with other artists and forming supergroups. In 1982, Page composed the soundtrack for the film Death Wish 2, his first solo project following Led Zeppelin's disbandment. This work allowed him to explore different musical territories, incorporating synthesizers and a more cinematic approach to composition. In 1984, Page teamed up with former Bad Company singer Paul Rodgers to form The Firm. The group released 2 albums, The Firm, 1985, and Mean Business, 1986, before disbanding. While The Firm achieved moderate success, it didn't reach the heights of Led Zeppelin, and Page continued to search for new musical directions. During this period, Page also released a solo album, Outrider, 1988, which featured contributions from Robert Plant and Jason Bonham, John Bonham's son. The album showcased Page's continuing guitar prowess and his ability to craft hard rock songs, but it didn't achieve the commercial success of his Led Zeppelin work. What happens when rock legends reunite decades after their prime? Page and Plant reunited in the mid-1990s for the Unleaded project, which saw the duo reinterpret Led Zeppelin classics with world music influences. This collaboration resulted in the album No Quarter, 1994, and a successful world tour. The project was well received and demonstrated Page's continuing ability to innovate and incorporate diverse musical influences into his work. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, Page has been involved in various Led Zeppelin-related projects, including remastering the band's entire catalog and overseeing the release of previously unheard material. These reissues have been praised for their sound quality and the inclusion of bonus tracks that provide insight into the band's creative process. Page has made occasional live appearances, including Led Zeppelin reunion shows. The most notable of these was the Ahmet Ertegun tribute concert at the O2 Arena in London in 2007, where Led Zeppelin performed a full set with Jason Bonham on drums. This performance was later released as Celebration Day and reminded the world of the band's enduring power and Page's guitar mastery. Legacy, influence, and recognition. Why do Led Zeppelin's albums still captivate audiences decades later? Jimmy Page's influence on rock music cannot be overstated. His innovative guitar techniques, production methods, and songwriting have inspired countless musicians across multiple generations. Many of rock's greatest guitarists, including Eddie Van Halen, Slash, and Joe Perry, have cited Page as a primary influence. Led Zeppelin's music continues to resonate with audiences decades after its initial release, with their albums still selling millions of copies worldwide. The band's blend of hard rock, blues, and folk, largely shaped by Page's vision, has had a lasting impact on the development of various rock subgenres, including heavy metal and alternative rock. Page's guitar riffs, particularly those from songs like Whole Lotta Love, Black Dog, and Kashmir, are considered some of the most iconic in rock history. His solos, especially the one in Stairway to Heaven, are studied and emulated by guitarists around the world. Beyond his musical contributions, Page's image as the mysterious, leather-clad guitar hero has become an enduring archetype in rock culture. His use of the Gibson Les Paul guitar helped popularize the instrument, making it a staple of rock music. How did Jimmy Page earn his place among the greatest guitarists of all time? Jimmy Page's contributions to music have been widely recognized. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, once as a member of the Yardbirds in 1992, and again as a member of Led Zeppelin in 1995. In 2005, Page was appointed an Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in recognition of his charity work. Various music publications have consistently ranked Page among the greatest and most influential guitarists of all time, Rolling Stone magazine placed him at number 3 on their list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. His innovative approach to guitar playing, production, and songwriting continues to inspire new generations of musicians. What drives Jimmy Page to keep Led Zeppelin's legacy alive? In his later years, Page has focused on preserving and promoting Led Zeppelin's legacy. He has overseen the remastering and re-release of the band's entire catalog, including bonus material and previously unreleased tracks. These projects have introduced Led Zeppelin's music to new generations of fans and provided deeper insights into the band's creative process. Page has also been involved in various charitable causes, particularly those related to music education and the preservation of musical heritage. He has supported organizations like Action for Brazil's Children Trust and the Mercury Phoenix Trust. Despite being less active as a performer in recent years, Page's influence continues to be felt in the world of rock music. He remains a respected figure in the industry, often sought out for his insights on music and production, personal life, controversies, and challenges. How did Page's rock star lifestyle impact his relationships? Jimmy Page's love life has been a subject of both fascination and controversy throughout his career. In the 1970s, at the height of Led Zeppelin's fame, Page was in a relationship with model Charlotte Martin. They had a daughter, Scarlett Page, born in 1971. However, this relationship was complicated by Page's rock star lifestyle and the excesses that often accompanied it. One of Page's most controversial relationships was with Lori Maddox, whom he allegedly began dating when she was underage. This relationship, while not uncommon in the rock scene of the 1970s, has been a source of criticism in later years as societal norms and awareness of exploitation have evolved. In the 1980s, Page was married to Patricia Ecker, with whom he had a son, James Patrick Page, born in 1988. After their divorce, he married Jimena Gomez Paracha in 1995. They had 2 children together, and Page also adopted Jimena's eldest daughter. This marriage ended in divorce in 2008. More recently, Page has been in a relationship with poet Scarlett Sabet, who is significantly younger than him. Despite the age gap, the couple has been together since 2014, and Page has spoken positively about how this relationship has influenced his life and creativity in his later years. So, what is this devastating revelation about Jimmy Page's battle with addiction? Discover how the rock legend's darkest days nearly cost him everything. In 1976, Jimmy Page began using heroin, as noted by Richard Cole, Led Zeppelin's tour manager, who mentioned that both he and Page were using the drug during the recording sessions for the album Presence. Shortly after, Page admitted to Cole that he was addicted. By Led Zeppelin's 1977 U.S. tour, Page's heroin addiction was noticeably affecting his guitar performances. He had lost a significant amount of weight, and his addiction led to increased isolation, altering the dynamic between him and vocalist Robert Plant. During the recording sessions for In Through the Outdoor in 1978, Page's heroin use contributed to his reduced presence in the studio, with bassist John Paul Jones having a more significant influence on the album. Despite this, he continued to deliver powerful shows. The loss of Led Zeppelin's drummer, John Bonham, in 1980, and the band's subsequent breakup marked a turning point for Page. He began addressing his addiction, a journey that was neither immediate nor easy. In a 1988 interview with Musician magazine, Page expressed frustration when questioned about his association with heroin, firmly stating, "I'm not an addict, thank you very much." His recovery and subsequent advocacy for sobriety highlight his journey from addiction to a more stable and focused phase of his life and career. Jimmy Page's journey through fame and hardship paints a complex picture of a rock icon. What are your thoughts on the struggles he faced? Be sure to like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments below. Stay tuned for more untold stories.